Very good afternoon, students. So we are going to start off with designing of grammar where we had left in our last class. So just to remind you, we had started off with the subject formal language and automata theory in our previous week. I had an introductory class with you, and after that I had started with designing of different grammars, right? That is, given a language, you are supposed to construct the corresponding grammar for that language. So today I am going to continue from where I had left in my previous class, and if somebody has missed the previous classes, I would repeatedly request you all that please go through the video. The link is already provided in your daily tracker, that is routine. So once the introductory classes are not clear to you, you won't be able to catch up with the things I am going to teach in these classes. Okay. So fine. Now let me start and let me share my screen. So could somebody confirm whether I am properly audible and my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So if you remember, in our last class we had left here a to the power n, b to the power n. That is, we had constructed the grammar for this language, a to the power n, b to the power n. So we are going to start off with this. If you look at the language, it says something like w to the power r union w to the power r. Now what does this means? It means w is a string, any string consisting of a and b, because your alphabet set is a and b. So there is some string, then w to the power r means the reverse of that string. Okay, union of again a string. After that you can have either a or b. Here I have put a and then the reverse of the string. So I know it's a bit confusing, so just let me go to your Canva and explain it. So w to the power r, this was the language, right? So let's take an example. Let w be a b b a. Okay, this is w. So what will be wr? Okay, no, let me give you some other example. Yeah, let it be b b a b. Okay, this is w. Now what will be wr? The reverse of this. So what is the reverse of this? Read it in this direction. It will be b a b b. Now if you put the entire thing together and read it, b b a b b a b b, again from this direction if you read and from this direction you read, it's the same thing. So it's a palindrome. All of you have like studied the concept of palindrome, so all of you are familiar with what a palindrome is. So over here when I write w to the power r, this is a palindrome and this is a even length palindrome. If you notice, it is a even length palindrome. Whenever you are writing something of this form, it will give you a even length palindrome. Now what about odd length palindrome? Can't we have an odd length palindrome? Obviously we can have, right? So how can we have an odd length palindrome? So for all odd length palindromes, we either write w to the power r or w to the power r. Only a and b is allowed in our alphabet set. So either a will be there in the middle or b will be there in the middle, right? So let's again take the same example. Let's take b b a b, and then in middle you have a, and then the reverse of this, that is b a b b. Now again read this from forward direction, b b a b a b a b b, again in the reverse direction, b b a b a b a b b. So this is again a palindrome, but this is odd length palindrome. This is odd length palindrome. Okay, so we have to, now coming back to the question, we have to construct a grammar which recognizes all odd length as well as even length palindromes over A comma B. The question is clear? Now coming to the grammar, what we are supposed to do is, if you look at the production rules, you will see that this is for odd and this is for even. Okay, so for odd one, what we have done is, see, whenever we say that a string is palindrome, it always means, I'll again go back to the Canva. So whenever we say that a string is palindrome, we have to guarantee one thing: the last and the first alphabet should be same. The second and the second last alphabet should be same. Again, this should be equal to this. This synchronization should always be there in case of palindrome. Okay. So keeping in mind the similar kind of synchronization, we design our grammar taking the help of recursive relation again. And if you see, if it starts with A, it ends with A. If it starts with B, it ends with B. And in between you have a S. So whenever you replace this S, you will either get ASA or BSB, which again satisfies the condition that it will start with the same, start and end with the same letter, okay, or alphabet. And since this is an odd length palindrome, so the base case is A or B, right? In even length palindrome, the production rule is same, but the base case becomes epsilon, right? So just let me give you an example using this grammar so that it becomes easy for you to understand. So what is our production rule? ASA. I am considering the even length, okay, BS, B and epsilon, okay. Now suppose I need to check whether this BB, AB, BA, BB, this is a palindrome, right? So this should be generated using this grammar. So I need to check it out. So it starts with B, right? So I'll take this one, B, S, B, okay. After B, what do I have? Again I have a B. So again replace this S with a B, S, B, and a B. B was already there, add a B. So see, this part and this part we have already got, this part and this part. Next we need a A. So for A we need to replace S with ASA. So next B, B, A, S, A, B, B. Okay. So if you see BBA I have got over here, ABB I have got. So just I need I have got BBA and I have got BBA, this much and this much. So I need this part, okay. So what can I do? I can again replace BBA and then I'll replace it with B again, sorry, not B again, BSB, because there is a B. So B, S, B, and I already had ABB over here. Finally I have got whatever I want. In between there is a S, so you need to replace the S with epsilon. So once you replace the S with epsilon, you will get the intended string, that is BBAB, BA, BB. So this is how you can derive any and every palindrome of both even and odd length using the grammar. This is for even length, which one I have shown. For odd length, you just need to replace the epsilon with A and B, as we have seen in the slide. Okay, is it clear? Is the grammar clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, moving on to the next example, we have to create a grammar which generates a string having equal number of A's and B's. Now let me tell you, you had done something of the similar type in a previous class. That is, you had done A to the power n, B to the power n, which means again same number of A and B. But here another constraint was there, the sequence constraint was there. That is, you will have a series of A followed by a series of B's. But over here no such constraint is given. You can have A and B anywhere in the entire string, but the total number of A should be equal to the total number of B. So just the difference, what I am trying to say is A, B, B. This was a previous kind of a grammar that you have seen, A to the power n, B to the power n, where A should be followed by B. Here in this question you are asked the number of A should be equal to number of B, which means suppose you write a over here, then B over here, B over here, then A over here, then B over here, then A over here. So A and B can come in any sequence, but total number of A should be equal to total number of B. For this purpose we have to construct a grammar. Okay, so let's see the grammar. So you start with the starting symbol S, and then you have AS, BS. Okay, why AS, BS? Try to understand one thing, that whenever I say that the grammar generates equal number of A's and B's, I need to balance the number of A's and B's. That is, for every A that occurs I need to have a B, or for every B that occurs I need to have a A. So that is why I am writing the production rule in this way, which says that S tends to A, and then for this A, to balance this A, I have this B. In middle there can be anything, at end there can be anything. Again we can also have, we can have two possibilities, either the string can start with A or B. So for all the strings starting with A, this is a production rule. For all the strings starting with B, you have this production rule, that is B. For balancing this B, we have this A, and then again in between and at the end we can have anything and everything. Okay, so let's check out with the string whether it's working properly or not, right? So let's check out this string only. So our production rule was S, AS, BS and BS, AS. Anything else? Yeah, epsilon. Okay. Epsilon. Okay. So to find that whether this string is being generated by the grammar or not, we have a at first. So I'll start with this production. So S tends to AS, BS. After A, what do we have? B. So in the next line you replace this S with BSAS. Replace this S with BSAS. And then what did we have? We have this BS. Just copy it. So we have got AB, right? Next we need again B and then a A. So what we can do is we can replace this S with BSAS again. BS, this S with BSAS again, and then I had this part. So just copy this part, AS, BS. Now let's see what we have got. We have got A, B, B here. We have already got A, B, B here. After that, what do we need? We need a A, right? So fine, we can put a epsilon over here. That would give us a B, B, A. Again we can put an epsilon over here. That would give us a B. But no, it's not working. See, it's not working because I do not need two A's. I need a single A. So this derivation is not correct. I have to derive it in some other way. see, you will face this kind of problem anywhere and everywhere. You have two non-terminals to be replaced by a terminal in a single line. So if you notice this line, you had three non-terminals. Now how to understand that, like how to replace which non-terminal with which terminal? This is a trial and error method. You might not be successful at the first try, as I was not. So you have to try with different combinations. Okay. So let me start with this line again. Okay. So I had A, B, S, A, S, B, S, right? Fine. So I need a B. So I'll replace this S with but in that case again I'll get an extra A. Just wait a sec. Okay, so let's try something different. Okay, let's replace this S with epsilon, and then we will be left with BS, right? So A, B, S. So for this S, what do we need? A, B is already here. So like for this S, we again need a starting B. So we can replace this S with A, B, then again B, S, A, S. So I've got A, B, B, and then I want a A. So I can replace this S with epsilon again. That would give me, writing over here, okay, A, B, B, A. So A, B, B, A, this part is done. Then I can write S again. I had S over here, right? So I'll replace this S with A, B, B, A with B, S. I need a B next, right? So B, S, A, S. And then finally I'll replace this S with epsilon and this S with epsilon. That would give me the final string A, B, B, A, B, A. See, this is the string we wanted, and it is getting generated using this grammar, so the grammar is fine. Okay. So like any confusion, or is it clear? If there is no confusion, I will move to the next question. So the next question is, we have to construct a grammar for a language containing set of all strings of even length over A comma B. So again it's a easy question. We have to ensure that the length of the string is even. Previously we had done questions where we restricted the length of the string to be 2 or at most 2 or at least 2, but here the length should be even. Okay. So for guaranteeing that, what we can do is we will take a starting string. After that, you can take an extra variable B, wherein you will you can take a double repetition of something, because it should be even, so it should be multiplied by 2, right? Anything even should be multiplied by 2. So this B is basically to ensure that anything and everything that comes is multiplied by 2. So I have B, and then again I have S as a recursion. Okay. So this B, what form can this B take? This B can take a form of double A, because I already told you it should be even. So a double occurrence of anything, A can be replaced by either A or B. So in a simpler way I can say that B will like end up as AB, AA, BA or BB, and whenever you put this value over here, right, you will always get a even length string. Whenever you are putting this AA over here and then replacing this S with anything, the same thing will again occur, and the entire length of the string will always remain even. Okay. Again a small example to make the thing clear. Let me grab it. Yeah. So what I am trying to say is, suppose you, what is your grammar? It is B, S, and B is equal to AA, and A can take the value of A or B. This was a grammar, right? And this should always generate even length string. So just to check, suppose I need to check with this value. Okay, so how to check with this value? So you start with S tends to BS, B can be replaced by AA, I want AB at first, so I'll put A, I'll replace this A with A and this A with B. Again S should be replaced or can be replaced by BS, no other option is there, so replace S with BS. Epsilon will be there, okay, otherwise it won't terminate. Again for the B part I can have AA, so for the B part I can have A or A, I have a S over here, so I need a B over here, right? So A, B, again this can reduce to B, this can be reduced to A, and this can be epsilon, so you get AB, BA. On a contrary, if you try to like bring out a odd length string, you will never be able to do it. Okay, you can try with the odd string, and odd string will never be generated using this grammar. Okay, next we have another very easy question. A to the power n, B to the power m. N and m are different powers, and the only constraint is that n and m should be greater than equal to 1, that is it cannot be 0, that is the string cannot be null. Okay, so the base case will be AB. So again, what does this means? If you express in words, you say that you will have any combination of A's followed by any combination of B's, correct? So to ensure that, you take a starting symbol and then one variable for A, one variable for B. For any number of A's, you have already done in the previous class also, A tends to AA or A, that would give you all the combinations of A, and then for B part, B tends to BB or B, which will give you every combination of B. Okay, so I don't think this needs much more explanation because this is very easy. Okay, next we have an example with 3 variables, like not 3 variables, I should say 3 alphabets. So we have A, B, C. The language says it's A to the power n, B to the power n, C to the power m, which means the number of A's and B's should be equal, and it should be followed by any number of C. So for C there is no relation, but number of A and number of B should be same. So for that, what we will do, we have already seen that how to bring equal number of A and B. We will use the same thing over here. At first you start with the starting symbol for A, like then break the string into 2 parts, one for your A to the power n, B to the power n section, that is A, and one section for C to the power n. So A is your A to the power n, B to the power n section, B is your C to the power m section. Again A can be broken as A, AB. That is to guarantee that number of A and number of B are always equal. You have already done this, so I am not explaining. This portion you already know how to ensure a to the power n, b to the power n. I had explained you multiple times in the previous class. And the base case is obviously AB, it cannot be empty. Finally, once we get equal number of A's and equal number of B's, it will be followed by any number of C. So, to guarantee any number of C, what is the form? B tends to CB or C. That is, it will give you a recursive relationship wherein you can have infinite number of C's. Okay. And the base case is C because you cannot have, like m cannot be 0, m should always be greater than equal to 1. Okay. Similarly, here we have another example. If you see, the change over here is we have a to the power n, c to the power m and b to the power n. So, we have equal number of a and equal number of b, but a is at the starting end, b is at the ending part and c is in between. Over here c was at the end, okay. Over here c is in between or middle. That is the only difference. So, how to ensure that? Again, very simple. You guarantee the starting A and the ending A like this, like this, and use this one also. One is ASB, another is AAB. Now, why this is required? This AAB is required. This AAB is required for inserting the C part in the next line. Because if we do not add an extra variable A, we will not be able to put the extra variable C, like extra string C over here. So, in the next line we will replace this A with any occurrence of the terminal symbol C using this production rule. Okay. So, at first we guarantee that the like starting A is equal to the number of trailing B's, and in between we can have any number of C's. Okay. Next, coming to this example, again this is a bit different. Here we have 4 alphabets A, B, C and D. Okay, the thing is same, the approach is same, like we can only increase the number of symbols and that won't hamper the system and that won't make the system complex. How? Again over here a to the power n, b to the power n, c to the power m, d to the power m, which means the number of a's and b's should be equal and the number of c's and d's should be equal. Okay, there are no internal relation between b or c, a or d. A and b are related, c and d are related. Okay, and one more thing, a, b will be followed by c, d. That's the only thing. So again we will break our problem into 2 parts. This a part will be for a to the power n, b to the power n. The second part will be for c to the power m, d to the power m. Okay. So again you already know the grammar for a to the power n, b to the power n, and this is for c to the power n, m, d to the power m. We just need to break the problem into 2 parts. Okay. Okay. So since you have done so many problems of same type, please tell me the answer of this one, like not answer, like the approach of this one. How will we approach for this problem? Anybody please unmute yourself and respond. You look at the problem, it's a to the power n, b to the power m, c to the power m and then d to the power n at the end. Okay. So this number of a and number of d should be equal and number of b and number of c should be equal. So quickly tell me what will be the grammar. Anyone please.
Ma'am, it can be any combination of A, B, C and D.
Not any combination of A, B, C and D. Number of A should be equal to number of B and number of B should be equal to number of C. That is the constraint over here. here also the similar thing was there, na? But the sequence was different. Over here, AB was like side by side, CD was side by side. Over here, A and D are at the extreme ends with the same number of A and D, and B and C are supposed to have the equal number of B and C. So the thing will be same, just you need to modify a bit. So please tell me what will be the required grammar.
Ma'am, that will be capital A, capital B, and then ma'am, capital A will be small a, capital A, D, then ma'am AD, then B is B, then capital B, C, BC.
Okay. So if you are going to do this, firstly you have to replace A, right? So suppose I want to replace A, I'll replace A with AD, right? And I'll replace B with
DBC.
C.
C.
Sorry, but look at the sequence. I need the sequence to be ABCD, not ADBC. You understanding my point?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, for the second production rule, I think it will be or BC.
For the second production rule, it will be only BC.
No, ma'am. For the second production rule, small a, capital A, D, or BC. I'm not sure.
Achha, listen. Since over here the form is you have to match the number of A at the beginning and D at the end, right? That is the first priority. Then is the number of B and C, which should lie in the middle of A and D. It is quite similar to this problem which you have done for A to the power n, B to the power n at both the ends, and then in the middle you had C to the power m. So for this kind of problem, what you do is you start with S, okay, then you start with A, then you have to end with D, right? The number of A should be equal to number of D at the end. Forget about the middle portion. Or I need to insert B and C in the middle, therefore I'll induce another variable. Again it will start with A, end with D. Now this A can be, this A can be replaced by B or C. In middle what will we have? B, C. So I can have B, A, C, or BC. Now is this serving the purpose? So if I start, okay, let me take an example. Suppose I start with A, D, okay. Next I'll replace it with A, B, A, C, and I had a D, right or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So I can get this A, B, C, D. Okay, I think we will need another, this can be epsilon actually, okay. This can be epsilon. Where is epsilon? Let me check here. epsilon, I guess. Can we have just a second? No. We'll have BC only, because if I would have wanted only BC, I would have I could have done this AAD. I would have replaced this A directly with BC. That's it. That is fine. BC will only be here. And if I need more than that, I will try to replace it with BAC, and then in the next line again I can replace this A with BC. That will give me AB, BC, CD. So see, number of B equal to number of C, number of A equal to number of D. It's getting satisfied. Okay, so this will be your production rules. Okay, fine. Now let's move to the next question. Now this is again a special type of question, students. If you look at the format, it's for all the languages of the form A to the power m plus n, B to the power m, C to the power n. Okay. Now by looking at the language, you might find it a bit difficult that I have a summation in the power. Now how to solve this? The first thing that you are supposed to do when you get this kind of a question is break the power. A to the power m plus n means A to the power n dot A to the power m, and you have B to the power m, C to the power n already. Writing A to the power m plus n in this form actually means, if you look at the symmetry, number of A should be equal to number of C, number of A should be equal to number of B. So you will have a series of A whose number should be equal to series of C's at the end, and again there will be a series of A whose number should be equal to series of B's. Now again, how to solve this grammar? Once you have broken this into power, first imagine the starting and the ending point. What is the starting and ending point? That should be similar, A and C. Number of A should be equal to number of C. So the same strategy, A, C will be fixed. In between just put S, and for including the middle part you have to take the help of an extra variable A, capital A. So again A, C, in between you will have a capital A. Now this capital A can take the form of what? A to the power m, B to the power m, right? So A, AP or AP. As simple as that. The only trick lies in breaking the language given. Similarly, if you look at the next question, it's A to the power n, B to the power m, C to the power n plus m. Break this C to the power n plus m into C to the power m dot C to the power n. Now if you look at the language, it says that number of A should be equal to number of C, number of B should be equal to number of C. Same thing. Keep the A and C fixed. In between there will be S or there will be a, and the intermediate A can take the form of BAC or BC. Okay? Any confusion? You want me to repeat? Give you an example? Anything? Because all of these are similar kinds of problems. So if one is clear to you, all of them will be clear. Please, you can tell me if you have any doubts or confusions, because I'll move to on a next topic actually, because hereby I'll end with the different examples of grammars. We do have a huge variety of grammars with us, but I have tried to cover most of the typical questions that are common for exam, GATE or maybe normal exams. So yeah, this is the maximum variety I could find. So before I go to the next topic, that is Chomsky hierarchy, I am repeatedly asking you, any doubts you have, any confusion, please open up, please tell me, otherwise it's fine. So it's clear, everything is clear, right? I do expect a yes or no at least.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So next, moving to Chomsky classification or Chomsky hierarchy of grammar. In your first class, I had shown you a diagram like this. If you remember, I had shown you a diagram like this, wherein we could see the 4 types of machines and the 4 types of grammars for the corresponding machines, corresponding languages. So we had the most unrestricted grammar, that is type 0 grammar. Then we had a bit more restricted grammar, the context sensitive grammar. Then we had context free grammar, and then we had regular grammar. Now if you go by the picture, you will understand one fact, that a type 0 grammar is only a type 0 grammar, but a type 1 grammar, is a subset of this entire set. So you can say that a type 1 grammar should always be a type 0 grammar also. Similarly, a type 2 grammar, that is a context free grammar, should always be a context sensitive grammar as well as a type 0 grammar also. And finally, a type 3 grammar is always a type 2 as well as type 1 as well as a type 0 grammar. This is the most restricted grammar, okay. A regular grammar is the most restricted grammar. So if you follow the chart, type 0 is unrestricted grammar, type 1 context sensitive, type 2 context free, type 3 is regular grammar. Language accepted is unrestricted grammar accepts recursively enumerable language, context sensitive grammar, context sensitive language, so on. Okay, I am not repeating. And what is the corresponding machine? This also has already been discussed. Turing machine, linear bounded automata or LBA, PDA or push down automata, and finite state automata for regular grammar. Okay. Now see, you have to know one thing. These 4 types of grammars are there. You should be able to differentiate one kind of grammar from another. How? Suppose I give you a grammar. You should be able to look at the grammar and say that okay, this grammar is of type 3 or this grammar is of type 2. That should be clear to you. Okay, just by looking at the production rules, you should be able to understand or differentiate between different grammars. So there is some common ways of understanding which I have put down here for your better understanding. So if starting with type 0 or unrestricted grammar, suppose your production rule is of the form alpha tends to beta. This is just the form. I mean, I have considered this for your understanding. If I write S tends to BS, I say this S is alpha and this entire part is beta. That is what I have assumed over here when I write alpha tends to beta. So in type 0 grammar, what should be the value of alpha and what should be the value of beta, generic value, that should be known to us. So alpha can take anything of this form, can take any value of this form. What is this? Variables. V is for variable, T is for terminal. By now all of us know very well what is a variable and a terminal, right? So alpha can be anything of this form, a variable, or plus means or a terminal, star means any combination of variable or terminal. So if suppose small b is a variable and a is a terminal, so I can have any combination of variable and terminal like b a b like this. Next it should be followed by a variable, so it will be followed by another variable. It can be followed by another variable. So let's suppose that variable is s, any variable which is a part of your grammar, and again it can be followed by any sequence of terminals as well as non-terminals. Okay, so I'll just consider terminal. And one thing, students, whenever I write something of this form, like anything plus anything star, it means it can be empty also. V plus T star, clean star means this can be empty also. Like we can have epsilon also. In that case, this entire part will be omitted. If this part is epsilon, that is empty string, entire part will be omitted. In the right hand portion also we do have a star, which means we can have any combination of V's and T's. We may have an empty combination also, like that is we might not have anything. So the only constraint that remains is we must have a variable, at least a single variable in the left hand side, that is in place of alpha. Mane, if there is something, it's well and good. If there is something, it's well and good, but this part is fixed. You do not have a star over here, which means this is a mandatory portion. Okay, so alpha part is clear. Beta can take again any form as v plus t whole star, mean any combination of v and t. So suppose I write a grammar like this: BSA, BSAS, BA tends to BSAA. This is a type 0 grammar. No restriction is there, only restriction that we must have a variable in the left hand side. We have a variable in left hand side, followed by combination, then again like preceded and followed by combinations we do have, right? And left hand side we can have any combination of variables and terminals. Okay, so this is a type 0 grammar. Now type 0 is a complex kind of a grammar which you have not seen in the examples that we had performed. These examples we have not done, we need not do it. Okay, we will construct grammar, or we have constructed grammar only up to context free, that is type 2. Only regular grammar and context free grammar designing has been done by us, and that is the part of the syllabus. Okay, construction of unrestricted grammar or context sensitive grammar is not a part of our syllabus. You just need to know by looking into it, it is a unrestricted or context sensitive or context free or regular grammar. So context unrestricted grammar is clear, right? Now context sensitive grammar, how you will understand whether the grammar is context sensitive or not? It should be of type 0 firstly. Next constraint is that the left hand side length should be less than or equal to right hand side's length. So alpha's length should be less than equal to beta's length. This constraint was not there in type 0, but it is here in type 1. Okay. Next is type 2. In type 2 again one constraint is here. The left hand side of the production rule, that is if our production rule is alpha tends to beta, alpha size can only be 1, that is there can only be one variable at the left hand side, like all the things that we have seen, all the examples that we have seen. See, only one variable at the left hand side, that is your type 2, that is context free grammar. Finally coming to regular grammar or linear grammar, we can have two types of regular grammars or linear grammar, right linear or left linear. Okay, in left linear grammar, if you see, this is the form it takes, that is a variable. Let me write an example. Suppose a is a variable, it is in the left hand side, and that is alpha. For beta we can have again a variable followed by a single terminal. This is left linear grammar, or we may have a terminal also. Why left linear grammar? Because this variable or non-terminal is at the left hand side of the terminal symbol. B is the terminal symbol, T synchronizes with B. B is at the left hand side of T. Here A is at the left hand side of B. Therefore, it is known as a left linear grammar. In right linear grammar, similarly, the variable is at the right hand side of the terminal. So, this is known as the right linear grammar. Okay. So, these two forms can be taken by a regular grammar, or there is an extended form also wherein we can have the star of the terminals, that is suppose there is a single non-terminal followed by many terminals. This is a extended version of your linear grammar. This is left linear. Again, why? It is at the left portion of the terminals. If I was supposed to write right linear, again BBA, this would be a right linear. In extended version, the only difference is that instead of having a single terminal, we can have multiple terminal symbols. Okay. So, this is how you should be able to differentiate by just looking at the grammar, that whether it is type 3, type 2, type 1 or type 0. Okay. So, already it's 3. I won't stretch the class anymore. If you have any confusion, you can always contact me outside the class also. You can WhatsApp me or mail me. And so I'll stop the class today right here and request you all to please appear for the IMCRP test. Okay. So thank you so much. In case you are having any confusion, you can ask. I am here, or you can contact me via WhatsApp also, because all these things are a bit new to you. I understand there might be some confusions, or else you can leave the meeting and please appear for the IMCRP exam. Okay. Thank you.